What if this, right now, is the moment your life is about to change forever? Not next week, not someday in the future, but today. What if everything you've been feeling lately, the delay, the confusion, the heaviness in your chest, is not a sign that you're being left behind, but a sign that Allah is preparing something you're not ready to understand yet? You've been waiting. You've been making dua. You've been trying to stay patient, even when it feels like nothing is happening. And slowly, a question has been growing inside you. When will it change? But what if I told you your life is already on the edge of change, and there is just one thing Allah is waiting for before everything shifts? Not something outside of you, something inside you. Because Allah doesn't change your life when your situation becomes perfect. He changes it when your heart reaches a level of trust, surrender, and sincerity that can finally carry what you've been asking for. And if that moment begins today, nothing in your life will remain the same again. So stay with this, because what you're about to hear might be exactly what your heart has been searching for. Allah delays your breakthrough until your heart becomes strong enough to hold it. There is a reason your breakthrough has not come yet, and it is deeper than what you can see right now. You feel ready because you want it so badly. You have prayed for it again and again. You have imagined how your life will change when it finally happens. But Allah does not decide your readiness based on how much you want something. He looks at your heart. He looks at how strong it is, how patient it is, and how sincere it is. Some blessings are not small. They are big, powerful, and life-changing. And with them come tests, responsibilities, and moments that will challenge your faith. If your heart is not ready, the very thing you asked for can become something that stresses you instead of bringing you peace. So when Allah delays your breakthrough, it is not because He is saying no. It is because He is preparing you. He is strengthening you in ways you may not notice, through silent struggles, through confusing moments, through days when nothing seems to move. In all of this, your heart is being trained. You are learning patience. You are learning to rely on Allah instead of people. You are learning to let go of control and trust Him fully. Every delay is building something inside you, because when your blessing finally comes, it will not shake you. It will not overwhelm you. It will come to a heart that is calm, strong, and ready to handle it with gratitude. And one day, you will look back and understand. You will realize that the waiting was not wasted time. It was Allah preparing you for something bigger than you could have handled before. What feels like your life falling apart is Allah rebuilding it with purpose. There are moments in life when everything feels like it is breaking at the same time. Things you trusted start slipping away. Plans you worked hard for suddenly fail. People you thought would stay begin to change or leave. And in those moments, it feels like your world is falling apart. It feels confusing. It feels painful. It feels like you are losing control. You start asking questions. Why is this happening? What did I do wrong? Why now? Why me? But what you see as everything falling apart, Allah may see as everything being rebuilt. Because sometimes what looks strong on the outside is weak on the inside. Sometimes the life you were building was not leading you where you needed to go. Sometimes the things you depended on were slowly taking you away from what is better for you. And in His wisdom, Allah does not let you continue on a path that is not meant for you. So He begins to remove things, not because He wants to hurt you, but because He wants to guide you. He takes away what you were too comfortable with. He closes doors you were too attached to. He shakes your world so you stop relying on things that were never meant to carry you. And this process does not feel easy. It does not feel gentle. It feels like loss. It feels like confusion. It feels like you are standing in the middle of something broken. But in reality, this is the beginning of something new. Because when Allah removes something, He is making space. Space for something better. Space for something cleaner. Space for something that brings you closer to Him instead of pulling you away. You may not understand it right now. You may not see the full picture, but Allah sees what you cannot see. He knows where every path leads. He knows what would have happened if things stayed the same. He knows the hidden harm behind what you are holding on to. So when things fall apart, it is not always destruction. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is redirection. Sometimes it is Allah carefully rebuilding your life in a way that will finally bring you peace. And one day, when things start coming together again, you will look back at this moment differently. You will realize that what you thought was the end was actually a turning point, a moment where Allah stepped in, removed what was not right for you, and began rebuilding your life with purpose, with wisdom, and with care. And you will understand that nothing was random, not the loss, not the delay, not the pain. It was all part of a plan that was always leading you somewhere better. Allah changes your life when you change your relationship with Him. Many people are waiting for their life to change first. They think that when things get better, when their problems are solved, when they feel more stable, then they will become closer to Allah. They say to themselves, once my situation improves, I will focus more on my prayers. I will make more time for dua. I will become more consistent. But the truth is, it does not work that way. Your life does not change first. Your connection with Allah does. Real transformation begins the moment your relationship with Allah becomes real, not just something you turn to only in hard times. Think about it honestly. How often do people remember Allah only when they are struggling? When they are in pain, they raise their hands and make dua with deep emotion. But when things become easy again, that connection slowly fades. This is why many people stay in the same cycle, because their connection is based on their situation, not on sincerity. But the moment you change this, everything begins to shift. When you start turning to Allah in every moment, not just when you need something, when your prayers are no longer rushed, but filled with presence, when your heart is actually aware of what you are saying, that is when your relationship becomes strong. You begin to speak to Allah like He is truly listening, because He is. You begin to trust Him even when nothing around you makes sense. You begin to rely on Him not only for answers, but for peace. And this is where the real change begins, because when your connection with Allah becomes consistent, your heart starts to transform. The same problems may still be there, but they no longer feel as heavy. The same situations may still exist, but they no longer control your emotions. You begin to feel a calmness that you cannot explain, a strength that does not come from your circumstances, but from your connection. And then something even more powerful happens. Allah begins to open doors for you, not always in the way you expected, but in the way that is best for you. Things start to align. Opportunities appear. People come into your life at the right time. And even when something does not go your way, you feel a strange sense of peace, because deep down, you trust that Allah is handling it. This is the kind of life change that people do not talk about enough. It is not always loud. It is not always sudden. It is quiet. It is deep. It starts from within, and once it begins, it affects everything. Because when you are close to Allah, you are never truly lost. And when you are distant from Him, even the best moments can feel empty. So if you are waiting for your life to change, start here. Do not wait for things to become easy. Turn to Allah now. Speak to Him now. Be sincere now, because the moment you change your relationship with Him, He begins to change your entire life. What you refuse to release today may be what's blocking your biggest blessing. There are things in your life that you already know are not good for you. You feel it deep inside, even if you try to ignore it. A relationship that keeps hurting you, a habit that slowly weakens you, a thought pattern that keeps pulling you back into fear, doubt, and sadness. You ask Allah for something better. You make dua for peace, for clarity, for a new beginning. But at the same time, you are still holding tightly onto what is damaging you. And this is where many people remain stuck, because they want change, but they are not ready to let go. Letting go is not easy. It is one of the hardest things a person can do, because even if something hurts you, it is still familiar, and the unknown feels scary. You start thinking, what if I let this go and nothing better comes? What if I lose this and feel even more empty. What if this is all I have? So you stay where you are, even though your heart knows you deserve better. But understand this clearly. Allah does not remove something from your life without a reason. And He does not replace something while you are still holding on to what is not meant for you. If your hands are full, how can you receive something new? Sometimes the blessing you are waiting for is already written for you, already on its way. But it cannot enter your life because there is no space for it. And that space only comes when you choose to release what is not meant to stay. Letting go is not loss. It is trust. It is you saying, Ya Allah, I don't fully understand, but I trust that what you have for me is better than what I am leaving behind. And that kind of trust is powerful. It shows Allah that your heart is ready for something greater. It shows that you are no longer attached to what hurts you. It shows that you believe in His plan more than your fear. And when that happens, something shifts inside you. You begin to feel lighter. The weight you were carrying slowly disappears. Your mind becomes clearer. Your heart becomes calmer, and slowly, new things begin to enter your life. Better opportunities, better people, better peace. Not always immediately, not always in the way you expected, but in a way that feels right, because what you release for the sake of Allah is never wasted. It is always replaced with something better, something that brings peace instead of confusion, something that brings growth instead of pain, something that brings you closer to Allah instead of pulling you away. So if you feel like your life is stuck, ask yourself honestly, what am I still holding on to that I know I need to let go of? Because sometimes your next blessing is not waiting in the future. It is waiting on the other side of your decision to finally release what is not meant for you. Your life changes when you stop chasing dunya and start trusting Allah completely. There is a kind of tiredness that does not come from your body, but from your heart. It comes from constantly chasing, constantly worrying, constantly trying to control how everything in your life should happen. You chase success, you chase money, you chase people, you chase outcomes. You try to plan every step, fix every problem, and make sure nothing goes wrong. And the more you chase, the more restless you become, because no matter how much you achieve, there is always something else to worry about, something else to secure, something else that feels just out of reach. This is what happens when your heart becomes attached to dunya. Dunya was never meant to be something you run after with desperation. It was meant to be something that comes to you while your heart is connected to Allah. When you make dunya your focus, your peace disappears. Your mind becomes full of fear. You start thinking, what if I lose this? What if I don't get that? What if things don't go my way? But when you shift your focus from chasing dunya to trusting Allah, everything begins to change. You still work. You still try. You still take action. Islam does not teach you to sit back and do nothing, but your heart becomes different. You are no longer desperate. You are no longer attached to results. You do your part, and you leave the rest to Allah. And this is where real peace begins, because deep down, you start to understand something powerful. What is written for you will reach you no matter how far it seems, and what is not written for you will never stay, no matter how hard you chase it. This realization frees your heart. You stop forcing things that are not working. You stop running after people who are not meant to stay. You stop exhausting yourself trying to control every outcome. Instead, you begin to move with calm trust. You wake up, you do your best, and you place your trust in Allah, knowing that He is in control of everything. And something beautiful happens. When you reach this level of trust, your anxiety begins to fade. Your fear becomes smaller. Your heart feels lighter, because you are no longer carrying the weight of your life alone. You have handed it over to the one who created it. And when Allah sees that your trust is real, not just words, but something deep in your heart, He begins to take care of your affairs in ways you could never manage on your own. Doors open without you forcing them. Situations improve without you stressing over them. Things fall into place in ways that feel effortless, not because life becomes perfect, but because your heart becomes stable. And that stability changes everything. Because the person who trusts Allah completely is never truly lost, never truly empty, and never truly broken. So if you feel tired of chasing, if your heart feels heavy from trying to control everything, this is your sign to pause. Take a step back, do your part, but release the need to control the outcome. Trust Allah fully, because the moment you stop chasing dunya and start trusting Him, your life begins to change in a way that brings real peace, not temporary comfort. The delay you hate is Allah protecting you from what you cannot see. There are moments when you look at your life and feel confused. You made dua with sincerity. You asked Allah with a hopeful heart. You truly believed that what you were asking for was good for you, but it did not happen. Days passed, then weeks, maybe even months or years, and the thing you kept praying for still did not come. And slowly, a question begins to grow inside you. Why? Why is it taking so long? Why is this door still closed? Why does it feel like nothing is changing? You may not say it out loud, but deep inside, you start to wonder if your dua is being heard. But understand this clearly. Allah hears every single dua. Not one word is lost. Not one tear goes unnoticed. The delay is not because Allah is ignoring you. The delay is because Allah sees what you cannot see. You are looking at what you want right now, but Allah is looking at the full picture. He sees where this path leads. He sees what is hidden behind what you are asking for. He knows what will happen if it comes to you too early. And sometimes, what you want carries consequences you are not ready for. Sometimes, what you are asking for looks good on the surface, but deep inside it holds pain, regret, or a test that would shake you more than you can handle right now. So Allah delays it, not to hurt you, but to protect you. Think about how many times in your life something did not happen the way you wanted, and later you realized it was actually better that way. At the time, it felt like disappointment, but later, it made sense. Now imagine how many things Allah has already protected you from that you will never even know about. Doors that stayed closed, opportunities that never came, people who walked away. At that moment, you felt loss, but in reality, you were being saved. Allah's protection does not always feel like comfort. Sometimes it feels like delay. Sometimes it feels like silence. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening. But behind that silence, Allah is arranging things in a way that will not harm you. He is waiting for the right time, the right moment, the right version of you, because timing matters. What comes too early can break you. What comes at the right time can build you. And Allah's timing is always perfect, even when it does not match your expectations. So when you feel frustrated by delay, remind yourself of this truth. Allah is not holding back from you. He is holding something for you. He is protecting you from something you cannot see. He is guiding you away from something that is not right. He is preparing something better than what you are asking for. And one day, when things finally fall into place, you will understand. You will look back at the delay, at the waiting, at the unanswered moments, and you will feel grateful that Allah did not give you what you wanted at the wrong time. Grateful that He protected you in ways you could never have protected yourself. Because sometimes, the greatest mercy is not in what Allah gives you. It is in what He withholds. And the delay you hate today may be the very thing that saves you tomorrow. When you fully surrender to Allah, everything falls into perfect divine place. There comes a point in your life where you become tired, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. You get tired of trying to control everything, tired of overthinking every situation, tired of asking, why is this happening? And when will things change? You try to fix everything yourself. You try to understand every outcome. You try to make life go exactly the way you planned it. But the more you try to control everything, the heavier your heart becomes. Because deep down, you were never meant to carry all of this alone. And then, slowly, you reach a moment where you realize that no matter how much you think, no matter how much you stress, No matter how much you try to control every detail, some things are simply not in your hands. And that is where surrender begins. Surrender is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is not losing hope. Surrender is strength. It is the moment you say, Ya Allah, I have tried my best. Now I leave the rest to you. It is when you stop fighting what you cannot control, and you trust the one who controls everything. When you truly surrender to Allah, something powerful changes inside you. Your heart becomes lighter. The constant noise in your mind begins to quiet down. The fear that was always sitting inside you starts to fade because you are no longer carrying the weight of your future by yourself. You have placed it in the hands of Allah. And when that surrender is real, not just words, but something deep in your heart, your entire perspective changes. You begin to accept things without constant resistance. You begin to see delays without panic. You begin to face uncertainty without fear, not because you know what will happen next, but because you trust who is in control. And this is where something beautiful begins to unfold. When you surrender, Allah begins to take care of your affairs in ways you could never plan. Things start to align, doors open at the right time, situations that once felt complicated begin to ease. People come into your life for a reason, and others leave for a reason. And even when something does not go your way, you no longer feel broken by it, because your heart understands that if Allah allowed it, there is wisdom behind it. This does not mean life becomes perfect. There will still be challenges. There will still be tests, but you face them differently, with calm instead of panic, with trust instead of fear, with patience instead of frustration. And this is the kind of peace that cannot be taken away easily, because it is not based on your situation. It is based on your surrender. When you surrender to Allah, you stop trying to control the story, and you allow the one who wrote it to guide it. And that is when you realize something deeply powerful. Everything was always falling into place, not in the way you expected, not in the timing you wanted, but in the way that is best for you. The delays, the losses, the confusion, the waiting, all of it was part of a bigger plan, a plan that you could not fully see, but Allah always knew. So if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like things are out of control, if your heart feels heavy from trying to manage everything on your own, this is your sign. Let go, not of effort, but of control. Do your part and trust Allah with the rest, because when you fully surrender to Him, everything begins to fall into its perfect place, exactly as it was meant to. Maybe this message found you at the exact moment you needed it. Maybe you've been feeling tired, confused, quietly losing hope while trying to stay strong in front of everyone else. And maybe deep inside, you've been wondering, when will things finally change? But what if this is the moment everything begins to shift? Not outside, but inside you. Because the truth is, Allah has never forgotten you. Not for a second. Not in your silence. Not in your waiting. Not even in the moments you felt completely alone. Every tear you held back, He saw it. Every dua you whispered, He heard it. Every time your heart broke and you still turned back to Him, He recorded it. Nothing was wasted. The delays, the pain, the confusion, it was never random. It was shaping you, preparing you, guiding you closer to something your heart is not even ready to fully understand yet. So don't give up now. Not when Allah is already working behind the scenes. Not when things are already being written in your favor. Not when your story is still unfolding. Hold on a little longer, trust a little deeper, and surrender a little more, because the moment your heart fully returns to Allah, everything begins to change. And one day, very soon, you will look back at this phase of your life, and instead of pain, you will feel gratitude, because you will finally see what Allah was doing for you all along.